Hey everybody, welcome to the Agatha Awards presentation. I'm Kevin Powers.
And I'm Susan Ramsey. We're going to start by talking about the award criteria, but in order to do that, I thought maybe we would discuss first the organization that gives the Agatha Award so that you would understand more about it. Malice Domestic, Inc. is a nonprofit corporation with tax-exempt status. They were established in 1989. They're governed by an all-volunteer board. There are currently 17 members on Malice Domestic's board, and they're made up of various mystery authors and editors and even fans. Malice Domestic was originally set up to put on and coordinate an annual 3-day fun fan convention in Washington, D.C. And that convention consists of discussion panels and author signings. They do a live and silent auction, and then they have other mystery-related events. And authors and fans are able to go to that convention. The mission of Malice Domestic is to celebrate the traditional mystery, those works best typified by Agatha Christie, which of course the Agatha Award is named after. Malice Domestic gives 3 awards, actually. The first being, of course, the Agatha Award, which we'll talk about in detail in a minute. But they also give out an award for lifetime achievement at their convention every year. It's given to an author and voted on by the board. They say it's not necessarily annually on their website, but it has been given annually every year since 1996. If you go to their website, you'll find that the winners in this category are often writers of mystery series, which we're going to see being a trend in a minute. The Poirot Award, of course named after Agatha Christie's very famous detective, is voted on by the board as well, and it's given to honor individuals other than writers who have made outstanding contributions to the Malice Domestic genre, and often that they go to bookstores, publishers, even fans have received this particular award. The last winners were the owners of the Poison Pen Bookstore and Poison Pen Press. Some fun fan facts: Malice Domestic awards an annual grant to an aspiring writer in the mystery genre who's never published work in this genre before. So if you're interested in writing mystery novels, they have a grant for you. And in case you want to attend the fan convention, Malice Domestic 32 will be held on April 30th through May 3rd, 2020. All right, the Agatha Award itself, the basic requirements are that the book or story has to be published first in the United States, and the author must be living. The text can be published, though, as hardback, paperback, or even ebooks can win this particular award. The genre requirement is that it has to be a traditional mystery, or what's otherwise known as the cozy. In contrast to that, they say it cannot be hard-boiled mystery, which means that for the purposes of this award, they define it as having no explicit sex, no excessive gore, and no gratuitous violence, which sometimes you'll see in hard-boiled mysteries. There's also in this genre usually an amateur or quote-unquote accidental sleuth, unlike hard-boiled mysteries where there's usually a professional private eye. The judging for the award and nomination and judging is done by the fans and the authors who attend the Malice Domestic Convention every year. Those who are registered for the convention by December 31st receive a nomination form asking them to list their top 5 picks for each category. And then the board takes those nominations and they develop an Agatha Award ballot, which is then distributed to the attendees at the convention itself. And then those votes are tabulated and the winners are announced at the Agatha Awards banquet, which is given the last night of the convention. There are 5 categories for which a text can win the Agatha Award: Best Novel, Best First Novel, Best Historical Novel, which we're going to look at, is the one we're reading, and we're going to look at today, and Best Children's Young Adult, and Best Nonfiction. And I'm going to turn it over now to Kevin. He's going to talk about the past winners and the trends.
Okay, so we decided to focus, since our book is The Widows of Malabar Hill, which won the historical category. We're going to focus on the best historical novel in the past 6 years, including our book. So, of course, the most recent winner is The Widows of Malabar Hill by Sujata Massey. So this one's set in 1920s India. I'm going to read some synopses of these books just to give everybody a bit of so you can kind of draw out some of the trends as we go. But 1920s India, Praveen Mistry, Bombay's only female lawyer, is investigating a suspicious will on behalf of three Muslim widows living in full purdah when the case takes a turn toward the murderess. In 2017, in Farley Field by Rhys Bowen, World War II comes to Farley Place, the ancestral home of Lord Westerham and his 5 daughters, when a soldier with a failed parachute falls to his death on the estate. After his uniform and possessions raise suspicions, MI5 operative and family friend Ben Cresswell is covertly tasked with determining if the man is a German spy. The assignment also offers Ben the chance to be near Lord Westerham's middle daughter, Pamela, whom he furtively loves. But Pamela has her own secret. She has taken a job at Bletchley Park, the British code-breaking facility. In 2016, The Reek of Red Herrings by Catriona McPherson. On the rain-drenched, wave-lashed, wind-battered Banffshire coast, tiny fishing villages perch on ledges which would make a seagull think twice, and crumbly mansions cling to crumblier cliff tops, while out in the bay the herring drifters brave the storms to catch their silver darlings. It's nowhere for a child of gentle Northamptonshire to spend Christmas, but when odd things start to turn up in barrels of fish with a strong whiff of murder most foul, that's exactly where Dandy Gilver finds herself. In 2015, Dreaming Spies by Laurie R. King. Laurie R. King's novels of suspense feature Mary Russell and her husband, Sherlock Holmes, are critically acclaimed and beloved by readers for the author's adept interplay of history and adventure. Now the intrepid duo is finally trying to take a little time for themselves, only to be swept up in a baffling case that will lead them from the idyllic panoramas of Japan to the depths of Oxford's most revered institution. In 2014, Queen of Hearts, also by Rhys Bowen. Lady Georgiana Rannoch, 35th in line for the British throne, knows how to play the part of an almost royal. But now she's off to Hollywood, where she must reprise her role as sleuth or risk starring in an all-too-convincing death scene. And in 2013, A Question of Honor by Charles Todd. World War I nurse and amateur sleuth Bess Crawford investigates an old murder that occurred during her childhood in India and begins a search for the truth that will transform her and leave her pondering a troubling question: how can facts lie? So you probably picked up on certain trends, and there are very specific formulas attached to the mystery genre. But I'll go over a few of the trends we noticed as we look through these. The first thing is I want to call back just to the tight-knit group of writers that are involved in this, the Malice Domestic convention and all that. So if you visit that website, you'll see a lot of names mentioned over and over. It seems to be kind of a family of writers, much like other genre writers. I'm thinking like sci-fi, how they kind of tend to stick together and go to conventions. They kind of just love this thing so much and have this mutual interest. But the one thing that a big thing that stood out is all of these are narratives led by women. All of these books feature at least one of the protagonists is female, if not completely. They seem to always be in some sort of revision of history that gives female characters an agency that women at that time mostly didn't have or weren't allowed to have. And then there's also, these are mostly written by women, all except for the one back in 2013 are written by women writers. So this, of course, leads into the tradition of Agatha herself, of course, and her legacy really shines through in that so many women have taken her as an inspiration and become great writers of mystery. These writers are prolific. They tend to write many books, often series that go on and on and on, and there's even that award that kind of awards somebody who's written this lifetime series. there's like I said, a formulaic element to this sort of genre writing, as we know, and readers really latch on to it. It becomes like a very big important part of this particular fandom. There are recurring winners. So I talked about the tight knit group. The winners and nominees, a lot of them tend to repeat within their respective genres and even across categories. So as you see, like 2 of the last 5 winners in this historical category, Reese Bowen, she's won it multiple times, and I think I even saw her name in a couple of these other authors' names in some of the other categories. The idea, obviously, of books in the series we talked about, this recurring protagonist, follows in the tradition of the amateur sleuth or investigator, the accidental investigator. They feature the traditional murder investigation plot. The cozy mystery idea. Investigation starts, a murder ensues, a sinister secret is revealed, and as you've noticed, also in the book we've read, there's an element of romance involved, and that tends to seem to be a trend as well in all of these. And also, obviously, this is historical, so there are very specific settings, often ones of historical significance, like a World War II or World War I or 1920s Hollywood or whatever it may be. And they all seem to have locations of interest, kind of whisking the protagonist away to some unique location or some new location. There's also just seems to be rich, detailed storytelling all around. I'm sure you gathered from Widows of Malabar Hill that it's so full of historical and cultural detail, and that's something typical of award-winning books. I've found that when writers really do that research and really take you to a specific time and place, it's typically rewarding for everybody. So we'll leave you with a quote from Agatha Christie. "I like living. I have sometimes been wildly, despairingly, acutely miserable, racked with sorrow, but through it all, I still know quite certainly that just to be alive is a grand thing." If you want to check out the website again, malicedomestic.org, I believe, and that's where we got all of the award information, and it's the convention information, obviously. And then there is also just some of the notes on the synopses of the books, and the photos came from goodreads.com. And also got some information from Google Books. And just that's all we have. So thank you very much. I'm Kevin. Thank you.
I'm Susan. Thanks.